In this video we're going to look at how we use the written column method when we are adding, and this is the first stage of learning how to use the column method. We already know that there are several ways that we can add numbers together. We can use a number line, we can add together in our heads, usually by partitioning into tens and units. What we're going to do now then is think about a slightly bigger addition that is a little bit trickier to do in our heads, or we might make a mistake with. So let's think about the addition 32 add 67. Now what we're going to do is we're actually going to write these numbers out in a slightly different way, and we're going to put one number on top of another number. So I'm going to write the number 32, and below it I'm going to write the number 67. Now what's really important here is I make sure that the tens and the units are in the correct position, that the units are lining up. They're lining up here, and the tens are lining up here. And this is what we call columns. So I'm going to draw my line, and I'm going to put my plus sign here to remind myself that what I'm doing is adding. Now the first step when we're learning how to do column addition is to think about partitioning the numbers. Now we've done this before, so just to remind you that when we partition the numbers, we break those numbers down into the tens and the units. So let's have a look at the number 32. We know that we can split that into 30 and 2, and the number 67 we can split that into 60 and 7. We're going to look at the columns we've created and add those numbers together. So I've got the 2 and the 7 lined up, so I'm going to add together the 2 and the 7, and I know that 2 plus 7 makes 9. Then I'm going to look at my tens, and I've got 30 and I've got 60, and I know that if I add 30 and 60 I get 90. Now because I partitioned my numbers, I need to put them back together. So now I've got 90 and I've got 9, and I can put those back together, and that gives me 99. And that's my answer. 32 plus 67 is 99. Let's try another question. This time we're going to add 63 and 34. So what we're going to do is we're going to line those numbers up above each other. So 63 and 34, making sure that my tens are lined up and my units are lined up. And this bit's really important, that everything is in the right columns. That's why we call it column addition. Remember to draw my line and write the plus sign to make sure that I'm remembering that I'm adding. So let's partition these numbers. So the number 63 we can partition into 60 and 3, and the number 34 we can partition into 30 and 4. And then what we're going to do is we're going to add them up. So let's look at our units. We've got 3 and 4, and I can add those together, and I know that that equals 7. And then I'm going to look at my tens, and I've got 60 and I've got 30, and I know that if I add those up together I get 90. And now I've got my answer, but it's been partitioned. It's 90 plus 7, and I need to make sure I put that back together, and my answer is 97, and that is the answer to 63 add 34. Okay, we're going to try another one, but this time we're not going to partition, and then you're going to have a try yourself. We're going to do 54 plus 43. So first things first, we're going to line them up underneath each other in a column. We've got 54 and we've got 43, making sure we've got our tens and our units all lined up. We've drawn a line and we've written the plus sign. Now this time we're not going to partition, but we're just going to check we've got our units lined up here and our tens lined up here. Now what's important in column addition is that we always start with our units. So we're going to add up our units. We've got 4 units and 3 units. We can see those here. And if I add those together, I know that 4 plus 3 is 7. So I'm going to write it underneath. I've got 7 units. Then I'm going to look at my tens. I've got 5 tens here and 4 tens. Now 5 tens and 4 tens make 9 tens. So that is 9 tens, because 50 and 40 is 90, that's 9 tens. And that's it, I've done it. My answer is 97. 54 plus 43 is 97. What we're going to do now, I'm going to give you a question. You're going to pause the video and see if you can work out the addition using the column method. So your question to work out is 73 add 26. So pause the video now and work it out using the column method. How did you do? Well, hopefully your workings out looked like this. Tens and units. We have 73, and below that, lining up, we're going to write the 26. Underline it, write our plus sign. So always start, remember, with the units. We're going to add up the 3 and the 6. That gives us 9. Then we're going to add up the tens. We've got the 7 and the 2, and that gives us 9. So our answer to 73 plus 26 is 99. Hopefully you got that right. If you're feeling confident, we can move on to adding some bigger numbers. So let's look at, for example, we had the number 436 and we wanted to add it to 233. Now, exactly the same principles apply, but this time we've obviously got a slightly bigger number because we've got hundreds. So what we're going to do, we're going to write out our hundreds, tens and units, and we're going to line them up as we did before. 436, and beneath that 233. Draw a line, writing our plus sign, and we're ready to add. So same again, starting always with the units. So we have 6 units and we have 3 units. So 6 plus 3 is 9. Then we're going to move on to the tens. We've got 3 and we've got 3. Now 3 plus 3 is 6. That goes in the tens column. And now we've got the hundreds. We didn't have those before. We've got 4 hundreds and 2 hundreds. So altogether we have 6 hundreds. So I've worked out that 436 plus 233 is 669. Let's do one last question for you to try. I'm going to give you the question, then you can pause the video and have a try yourself. Have a try. You're going to work out 723 plus 253. Okay, so we should have written it out like this in our hundreds, tens and units and added it up like this. 3 plus 3 is 6, 5 and 2 tens, 7 tens, 700s and 200s is 900, and our answer is 976. Well done.